session, we'll then go into a product demo. So we're going to go through the entire expert relaunch ritual with our marketing coordinator, Ms. Kelsey. So you'll get to see kind of some key highlights of each ingredient, each product, and see how we tend to kind of say how to apply them as well. So. Alrighty, so as I had mentioned, the most important thing about, Kelsey, will you hit okay on the, you'll have to move the mouse over here. Okay. Sorry guys. So one of the most important things when beginning a new skincare routine is understanding what your skin type is. At the bottom of it, if you have sensitive skin, I will say to immediately go with the Dermatology EX products, that booster, the serum, and the active cream. That's going to have our giant young pool leaf. It's going to be very soothing to sensitive or inflammatory skin types. Beyond that, if perhaps you don't have sensitive skin, then you might still be stuck between deciding what is right for you. So oftentimes that is looking towards the various different skin types you can have. These skin types are based on the oil or sebum content that your skin naturally produces. To define this, what people often recommend is that you wash your face, put nothing on it, sit for 30 minutes, and then assess your face. If there is oil on your T-zone or even all over, you have oily or combination skin. Typically, combination will only have the oil formation on your nose and on your forehead as well. Oilier skin in general can even have it come on the cheeks and the chin as well. So in the variety of different skin types you can see here, I actually differentiated between the top two, dry and dehydrated. Now, dehydrated skin is not necessarily a thing that's often talked about, but I think it's important because we're looking at different ingredients and different product types. We want to make sure we're addressing the right concern. Dry skin is skin that is lacking oil content. It's lacking moisture. It's going to have the similar aesthetic concerns of dehydrated skin. So you're going to have duller skin, perhaps flaking, scaling, general dryness that you can literally perceive. On the other hand, dehydrated skin is when your skin is lacking water content. And that's what really differentiates between the two, is because with dry skin, you'll likely want oil-rich products. With dehydrated skin, water-rich products might be what's for you. However, as you can see, with dry skin and dehydrated skin, you're both going to have the similar aesthetic concerns of dryness, of scaling, and otherwise dull skin. Next, of course, we have oily skin as well. And so oily, as I mentioned, is going to look quite literally greasy, unfortunately, for lack of a better word. It's going to look quite luminous, quite radiant, even after immediately having washed your face. Oftentimes, those with oilier skin types are also more acne prone. Of course, this comes in contact with a couple of other key values. If your microbiome's imbalanced, if you otherwise perhaps didn't have previous hygiene practices, that too might lend towards being more acne prone. The fourth combination skin type is also huge because it's difficult to combat a skin type that has multiple different biomes, for lack of a better word. You know, you have that oil content on your nose and on your forehead, but perhaps you have dryness on your cheeks and chin. And so this is where you're kind of looking towards that hybrid skincare in kind. You want something that brings in hydration, brings in moisture, but not excessively to create excess oil on your nose and on your forehead as well. So in terms of combination, you really are looking at that radiance or that greasiness, particularly on the T-zone. Last, of course, we have normal and we have sensitive. Normal skin types are simply that. They are normal. So they're going to have the perfect balance of moisturization and of hydration, little to no blemishes, little to no redness or inflammation, just as even skin tone is really normal skin. Also comfortable skin as well. Lastly, sensitive. Now, sensitive can be within a variety of these other skin types. You can have oily and sensitive, dry and sensitive, but sensitive often means that there is a sudden onset of inflammation upon the application of a variety of different products. There are oftentimes products that are extremely aggressive that can extremely irritate sensitive skin, but there's other things that are meant to be gentle and can still perchance irritate sensitive skin. So sensitive skin is finicky in that regard. And so you want to make sure you approach it with caution and almost with respect, for lack of a better word. With sensitive skin, it's a lot of trials, it's a lot of tribulations, but it's understanding what works best by trying out these different products. What? Yeah, would you? Yeah, sorry.
We have, excuse me, we have some Chinese speaking, so we're just Do you allow someone to translate?
Unfortunately, because we're also
People have
live
too much
broadcasting
time.
this, yeah,
Right.
I'm so sorry, but afterwards we can definitely go into it a bit more.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sorry about that.
That's all right.
So with that in mind, when we finally come to the comparison of the two product lines, of course, you have Dermatology EX and we have Radiansome 100. These ingredients on their own and these products on their own are vastly beautiful in their own right, but they do suit certain skin types. So when we start with the Dermatology EX line, that's going to be much more water rich. That's going to be, of course, for sensitive skin, dehydrated skin, even oily skin, because it's not going to bring in more oil content to that skin. This is also quickly absorbing because it is so water rich. I mean, we have the highest concentration of that young pea leaf extract. Just a reminder, the booster has 88% of it, the serum 81%, and the active cream 57%. So you're really getting that hydration and you're also getting that quick absorption. So some people who do prefer both lines will use this line in the morning because it lays well under makeup as well. With that in mind, it really applies to all skin types, but there are certain instances in which a skin type might just need more oil, something that the Dermatology EX line is not providing for them. And that's when we turn to the Radiansome 100 line. So the Radiansome 100 line is much more oil rich. As you may know, it's 100% liposomal. And so we need that oil content to maintain the stability of those formulas. Of course, also because this is our more advanced line, that oil content really works well with the specific ingredients included in that line. So we're looking more towards kind of that luxurious and emollient feel to the skin and much more slow absorption in the same regard because of that high oil load. In this status, so to speak, I typically do not recommend this line for anyone with sensitive skin types. Of course, you are unique in your skin and it actually might work for you even if you have sensitive skin types. But for those initially starting out with Remon and wanting to see the difference with Remon, I try to push them towards what immediately will bring them success. And so that would be the Dermatology EX line. For many other skin types, for dry skin, especially lacking that oil, mature skin, even combination and normal may find benefit now with the Radiansome 100 line in comparison to the Dermatology EX line. And one important thing to note about both lines is that they have overlapping and synergistic benefits as well. Many people, when they go to the Radiansome 100 line, is because they're looking to reduce hyperpigmentation or address fine lines and wrinkles. You can still do that with the Dermatology EX line. Yes, we are focusing on hydration with the Dermatology EX line, but there are many different complexes within that line that can also help reduce the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles, help support elasticity, and even reduce hyperpigmentation. I mean, our main ingredient, that giant pimple, has tested benefits in reducing hyperpigmentation right off the bat. All right, so when we come to appreciate Insulderm and all its various skincare offerings, as I always like to reinforce, we believe K-beauty to be fundamental. It is fundamental, but we want to make sure it's not complex. So as people are navigating to find which products are right for them, which sets are right for them, I always take them first to those basic tenets of K-beauty, of cleansing, hydrating, and protecting. Your cleansing offerings for either appreciating the Radiansome 100 line or the Dermatology EX line are exactly the same. It's these three cleansers here. So you're covered in that regard. That's an easy choice. It's just looking at these various products here. Within hydrate, of course, then we go towards either the Dermatology EX products or the Radiansome 100 toner, ampule, and cream. And then, of course, protect in the most traditional sense is about UV protection, basically locking in what you've done for your skin and keeping away any outside irritants. But beyond that, I always talk about protection in terms of your skin barrier, your skin's innate protection. This is something that can be easily reinforced by, once again, moisturizing oils and maintaining your water content as well. So appreciating Radiansome and Dermatology EX on their own is fantastic, but also do not get overwhelmed by choosing between them. They both comply with this basic concept of K-beauty, this approach to hydration and to moisturization. So as I mentioned with Dermatology EX, this is our signature line. This is what brought us to #1 as a K-beauty brand in direct selling in Korea, and it does focus on hydration as a means of obtaining skin radiance. This line has the highest concentration of our giant bamboo leaf extract among a variety of other ingredients, patented ingredients, and proprietary complexes at that. But this is mainly going to be focused on gently just reinforcing the health of your skin. Of course, with these products, they've also all been Derma tested. This German Derma test is a more stringent safety testing for applicability to sensitive skin types. And so I think, again, that reinforces the application of these products for sensitive or easily inflamed skin. But it's also an opportunity for everyone to utilize this line as well. I think it's often the line I most often recommend for those just starting out with Raymond, especially those who aren't too sure of their skin type or of their skincare goals. That's good. So when we finally come to appreciate the booster and the serum, close up, really looking and breaking down what they do for your skin. Again, as I had mentioned, they're extremely high in that Byung-Pool leaf water content. And so that giant Byung-Pool brings in anti-hyperpigmentation, fine line wrinkle reduction, but it also has antioxidant care with those high polyphenol content. Beyond that, we also have what's called a Spiraceous crispa extract. Specifically, Spiraceous crispa is a mushroom extract, and it's going to reinforce your skin's vitality by essentially introducing valuable nutrients to the skin. Lastly, we have a 17 amino acid complex. For many of you may know that amino acids are the building blocks of proteins, and so this gives your skin the necessary tools to synthesize a variety of necessary metabolites for its general skin health and cellular function. And so you also may know with utilizing these products, they're done in what's called boo-say-boo, in which you booster, you allow it to absorb, you do a couple of drops of serum, and then you go back in with the booster. The reason we recommend you do that is because the booster and the serum are both extremely high in that giant Byung-Pool leaf water content. Water's natural behavior is to evaporate. So as you're applying these products, some of it is depositing onto your face, but some of it is indeed evaporating. And so we essentially ensure you're saturating your skin with these ingredients while still allowing for that natural behavior of water to evaporate as well. And so after you boo-say-boo with the Dermatology EX line, you would then go into the active cream. So with the active cream, as I mentioned, there are so many other key ingredients in here that go beyond just hydrating the skin and treating sensitive skin specifically. So again, we still have that giant Byung-Pool leaf extract, but we also have two botanical complexes, and they're called EZ-COM6 and the NBP complex. So both of these are essentially botanical extracts that have been aged for a certain number of days to bring in benefits to the skin. Specifically with the EZ-COM6 complex, that's going to bring in elasticity and antioxidant care. And of course, with NBP complex, same thing there as well, elasticity and radiance. And I'll remind you, so much of what we're looking for in regards to anti-aging does come from antioxidants and maintaining those antioxidants. When you have reactive oxygen species in your skin, they can cause a variety of different skin concerns. They can break down your collagen and elastin, they can create hyperpigmentation, and they can also create permanent redness beyond typical sunburns or whatever you may see. So oftentimes, if you see an ingredient deck full of just different antioxidants, that is a good thing. That's going to really make sure your skin is protected from the variety of different oxidative species we frankly create every single day just by living outside or just being essentially in a city or even based on whatever environmental exposures you might be coming into. Thank you. On the other hand, Radiansome 100. So the 100, as I mentioned, stands for 100% liposomal. And liposomes were initially introduced in the pharmaceutical industry as a mechanism of enhancing the absorption of topical drugs to the skin. Like many things, it was later adopted by the cosmetic industry. But specifically with the microfluidizer processor, which is what we use, it is still traditionally only used by the pharmaceutical industry and still typically on an ingredient by ingredient basis. To create an entire formula with a microfluidizer processor is extremely costly and it's very difficult to create a stable formula. However, of course, you're seeing exactly that right here. And so Remon committed that time and that money to find out how to create an efficacious, safe, but otherwise robust formula with 100% liposomes. And so in that regard, as I had mentioned, these products are going to be much more oil rich. The oil makes up that liposome. It's really going to keep them intact and allow them to penetrate the skin. And so with that in mind, the ingredients here are focused on many different things. You know, we have our Vita complex, which is many different vitamins. We have antioxidants once again, and we also have ingredients that help stimulate your fibroblasts. which are the cell types that create collagen and elastin. So with this line and the appreciation of the toner, the ampule, and the cream, just remember this is going to be much more emollient. Sometimes if you prefer to just use it at night, or even just use one of the products and otherwise use the Dermatology EX products, all of that is absolutely fine because ultimately the right Remon ritual is the Remon ritual that's right for you. All right, and so with liposomes in mind, they are specifically microscopic spherical molecules. They have both oil-soluble and water-soluble environments, so to speak. And so what's nice about these liposomes specifically is that their phospholipid bilayer, essentially what creates this circle, mimics our cell layer as well. So it looks very similar to the phospholipid layer of our stratum corneum. This helps these liposomes be easily uptaken by your cells. And so what's important about utilizing liposomes is that it allows for not only enhanced absorption, but targeted efficacy. If you are trying to reduce hyperpigmentation and you have an ingredient that does so, the liposome will be able to bring that ingredient towards your melanocytes, which are the cell types that create melanin or pigment, or otherwise inhibit the melanogenesis pathway such that you're accurately actually getting towards that hyperpigmentation and towards reducing that dark spot as well. All right, and so specifically with our utilization of the microfluidizer processor, as I had mentioned, this is very novel. This is something still typically used by the pharmaceutical industry. But what we do is we start with our initial media, as you can see cartoonishly depicted at the top, and we run it through that microfluidizer processor. Now, the processor is based on a physics principle known as Bernoulli's principle. I hated physics, I cried, that's the only class I cried about, so don't understand it too much, but what basically happens is when you rapidly decrease pressure, there's a rapid increase in the velocity or the speed of the molecules of the starting medium. So as it is going through this microfluidizer processor and it's drastically dropped in pressure in terms of that machine, all of a sudden all of that media and all those molecules in that starting media begin to speed up through the machine. And so as it speeds up, it hits what's called the cavitation center. This cavitation center has a specific geometry that forces those molecules to hit each other, to hit the wall at a very rapid rate. This forces those molecules into those liposomes. So what you get is an output of nanomaterials. And as you can see here, one nanoliposome is 1/350th the size of a human hair. Extremely, extremely small and extremely able to absorb into the skin as well. And so with the Radiansome ingredients, we've already went through the Dermatology EX key ingredients. So the main Radiansome ingredients here are RK Snowflake, Radiansome, Collagenere, Radium Mauritimum extract, and of course sunflower extract. So first and foremost, that RK Snowflake is actually a natural plant extract, and it's mainly an antioxidant. It's a specific antioxidant that has efficacy in as little as a week upon application, consistent application. But beyond that, our Vita complex, I think, is extremely important. One of the questions I get asked probably most often is, where can I get vitamin C in the formulas? Or can I still use my vitamin C serum with a starting Remon? So within this Vita complex, there is actually vitamin C. There's vitamin C, vitamin B3 or niacinamide, vitamin B5, vitamin P or hesperidin, and vitamin E or tocopherol. All of these vitamins, except one of them, are all antioxidants, and they have synergistic and overlapping benefits as antioxidants. One of these vitamins actually act as a humectant. It actually attracts water to the skin for hydration of the skin. Collagenere is that third ingredient, and this is actually a patented complex for us. The other two previously were exclusive in the sense that they are made by a raw materials supplier, but they only sell it to us for our formula. This patented complex is mainly for maintaining skin's elasticity and dermal support. Collagenere actually is also a natural extract, and it focuses on not only antioxidant care, but it has peptides that are very similar to the natural amino acid sequence of our collagen and elastin. So depositing these onto the skin help maintain not only moisturization, antioxidant care, but also encourage fruitful environments for maintaining collagen and elastin stores as well. This This pancreatic verbatim extract is another brightening agent, of course, that is Radiance's name, Radiance. And then last but not least, sunflower extract is crucial in the industry. I've seen it in so many different instances, but again, it is rich in vitamin E, and it also is what's maintaining the stability of those liposomes. Oh. All right, so another huge question I get when considering the two different product lines is why isn't Dermatology EX 100% liposomal? If we know that it so quickly enhances the absorption of the Radiansome 100 line, why wouldn't we apply that to the Dermatology EX line? Fantastic question in that, but there are also a variety of different considerations, specifically at the formulation level, for when to use liposomes and when to avoid them. First and foremost, it's going to be texture and compatibility in application. So the Dermatology EX line, as I've said quite often, is so water rich. The water acts as a beneficial carrier for the water-based ingredients in these systems. Many of the ingredients included in the Dermatology EX lines are water soluble. So the water acts as a sufficient carrier for the absorption of these products into the skin. Versus the the Radiansome 100 line, because it is so oil rich and because many of these ingredients are oil soluble, it needs those liposomes to make sure they absorb through the skin. Typically, oil droplets are extremely large in size. It's very difficult to get past the stratum corneum or your skin barrier. So the liposomes really help the accurate deposition of these ingredients into the skin. Furthermore, ingredient compatibility as well. So some active ingredients work synergistically with liposomes. Others, they will be hindered in their benefits if liposomes were introduced. Most importantly, throughout this as well, is that the Dermatology EX line is meant to feel that water rich. It's meant to feel hydrating and quickly absorbing. With the introduction of liposomes, it will actually weigh down the formulation, would give a much more robust feel, but also a thicker feel at the same time. And that was not the design for these products. We want them to be lightweight, to be quickly absorbing. However, with the Radiansome 100 line, because it is so luxurious, so emollient, it works perfectly for that story. So when we look at the utilization of liposomes, we're looking at the maximization of efficacy of an ingredient based on its absorption, but also the maximization of formula texture and application. And in that regard, the Dermatology EX line was perfect on its own without the liposomes. All right, so we're going to finish off, of course, with appreciating both lines. For those that are able to use both lines, that their skin works well with both, we typically see many people use Dermatology EX in the morning, and then they'll apply Radiansome 100 at night. Because Radiansome 100 is more slowly absorbing, that gives the skin time to really pick up everything that you've put on it. Because you're not messing with your face, you're not eating or wiping your face, you're not applying makeup on top of it. That's not to say that you can't use Radiansome 100 twice a day should you choose. It's to each their own. But if you are looking to incorporate both lines, we typically recommend Dermatology EX in the morning, Radiansome 100 at night. The other possibility is, this is something I often suggest for those trying to transition to Radiansome 100, is adding a Radiansome 100 product to the expert or the essential remodel ritual. So, for example, we have here the expert remodel ritual steps. After you would boo, you would just add in either the toner or the ampule for the Radiansome 100 line and finish off with your active cream. That's a great way to begin to introduce the Radiansome 100 products to see if they're right for your skin, or perhaps you'll always stick to that because that gives you just enough moisturization without being over moisturizing for your skin type. So again, many different ways to experiment. I invite you to find which way is right for you, but ultimately there are a couple of different choices.